Mathieu Van der Poel now makes his move. Can anyone answer?
Pidcock leads it home. Pidcock wins the National Circuit Race Championship.
What connects some of the best pro cyclists of the last 20 years? Look at what happens when Tom Pidcock almost crashes in the finale of this Tour Series Criterium. He's running out of grip and room, but that split-second decision to unclip probably saves his race. Some of the best pro cyclists in the world right now cut their teeth in the world of cyclocross. And while some people consider this discipline a niche cousin of road cycling, I think cyclocross is responsible for moulding a golden generation of riders.
All the top riders have come through cyclocross.
That's Cameron Mason, one of the best cyclocross riders in the world right now. He's won World Cups, he's come fourth behind Van Aert, Van der Poel and Pidcock, and he's just been crowned British cyclocross national champion. But first, I just want to find out the answer to one question. Why are riders from a niche discipline suddenly dominating the biggest events in the sport? I want to show you something. There's this massive pile-up in the Lincoln Grand Prix. The road is entirely blocked, but one rider makes a split-second decision to bunny hop the curb and keep his momentum. That rider is the former British cyclocross national champion Ian Bibby. Imagine you could save energy every single time you move through the bunch. Every corner, every acceleration, every descent. And then, when the critical moment happens, you can take advantage of every opportunity that's presented to you. This is what a cyclocross course looks like. Not this, or this. No, it looks like this. And you don't have to imagine what happens to the state of that course towards the end of a race, as riders churn over the same lines again and again and again. And more often than not, it becomes a muddy, almost unrideable mess. This means riders have to continuously adapt their riding style and react to the changing levels of grip available at every corner.
The cool thing about cyclocross is there is a big scale of grip and there's a big scale of margin for error. Whereas in road racing, there's none of that. You're either on the bike or you've crashed. So it's in cyclocross, you can be going around a corner really slowly, you can be going around a corner at race pace, and you can then also crash. And then there's loads of places in between where you can kind of ride that fine line of grip.
So how do you deal with this? You'll often see cyclocross riders shifting their weight around in the ways that you rarely see in a road race. Front to back, side to side, even right over the front wheel. And these skills become super important when treacherous features like off-camber corners and tight, slippy hairpins are key parts of the lap. Let's go back to that moment with Tom Pidcock from earlier. This is a split-second decision that we've seen 1,000 times before in cyclocross races. And what you have to remember is this. Actions like this aren't conscious, they're baked in through years of practice. Here's the thing, I'm not arguing that road riders can't have these skills. I'm saying that earlier access to dedicated training for them means that cyclocross riders are more likely to have a sixth sense for grip and handling.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain to someone how it actually works when you're controlling a cyclocross bike, because it's very like subconscious. Like the whole idea is that you're not thinking about it, because as soon as you start to think about it, you're probably going to be too late.
This becomes most apparent when watching scary fast alpine descents or sketchy cornering on wet roads. In these situations, cyclocross riders can drop entire groups without even touching their pedals. And what makes this super effective is that when they do start laying down the watts, it's pretty much all over. Before we get into the physical effect of cyclocross on these pro cyclists, I need to quickly explain what makes cyclocross so different to road cycling. Back before indoor trainers and Zwift, if you wanted to keep fit in the winter, you would race your friends and teammates to the next town as directly as possible, cutting across fields and vaulting over fences to get there first. Often, cyclocross courses include technical features like hurdles, steep banks and sand pits to test handling skills or force riders to dismount entirely and just carry their bikes. Similar to Formula 1, there's a grid start, there's a pit lane, and numerous laps of the same circuit until the winner crosses the line.
At the fast courses, it is really like F1. It's track position, you know, when you're riding around at 35k an hour and you're in the draft, the effort needed to just make up one position is huge.
However, in cyclocross, there's never any controversy about ingenious rule-breaking engineering solutions. So now you can see where I'm coming from when I treat professional cyclocross like an entirely different sport to professional road cycling. It may seem like a stretch to make a connection between the fitness required to race a 1 hour bike race around a local park and a multi-day grand tour at the highest level of the sport, but bear with me. Just look at Wout van Aert. Relative to sprinters like Fabio Jakobsen, he doesn't look like a powerhouse. But the Belgian was wiping the floor with pure sprinters at the 2022 Tour, and then casually went on to pace Jonas Vingegaard on Autocam. That's like Usain Bolt winning Olympic gold in the 100-meter sprint, then winning the London Marathon the day after. It's a once-in-a-generation level of talent. Then there's the reality of racing at the elite level of cyclocross. It's an all-out time trial-like effort for 1 hour with lots of sprinting and micro-accelerations. Riders have to be able to maintain a dizzying level of effort with enough left in the tank to sprint for position, or even empty the tank at the finish.
Yeah, you need to have a really high threshold, I guess, because it is like a 1 hour effort. But if you dig down into that, it's like loads of little over-under efforts. So it's funny, I would describe the heart rate curve of like a cyclocross race similar to time trial. You basically go right up to your threshold and you just sit at your threshold for 1 hour. But if you were to look at the power curve of a cyclocross race, it would be more like a criterion, because you are going really deep into the red and then you're doing no power at all, or you're doing a max sprint running off the bike and then you're getting back on, you're doing a bike sprint and then you're doing no pedaling at all. So it's really really polarized. If you're pedaling, you're probably pedaling full gas, and if you're freewheeling, then you're trying to recover. It shows riders who are really good at recovering while they're really deep into the red, so they can process a lot of lactate, they can really flush blood really quickly, that type of thing. So they can do a 40-second effort, maybe just have 10-20 seconds recovery, and then they can go and they can match another 40-second effort.
So why are we getting so many of these talented riders coming through cyclocross and not road? Look at this photo of Tom Pidcock as a junior, and what do you see? Some of you might see a star in the making, or maybe you clocked the rim brakes. But I think that misses the point. I was doing some research for this video and came across this. It's Zoe Baxter's first official race way back in 2012. She finished 21st in a combined under-10s race won by none other than Josh Charling. But she was only 7 years old. Here in the UK, riders as young as 12 can rock up to the National Trophy Series and race the exact same circuit as the fastest riders in the country. They can be inspired, cheer on champions, and they'll want to come back and do it all over again. This means a huge pool of talent can ride, race, and train regularly on safe courses away from cars. And on top of that, you don't really get dropped if you're not at the same level as the leaders. Instead, a lot of cyclocross is about your personal battle with the course.
I think when riders start in cyclocross, it's a really good environment to make mistakes, to find your own strengths and all of that. And most, all the top riders have come through cyclocross just because they have so much passion and enjoyment for it.
And because you get more people getting into the sport, you've got way more of a chance to find and nurture generational talents, which might just be one of the reasons Tom Pidcock went from this to this. Speaking of which, since we've talked about the existing golden generation of riders, I want to give you 2 tips on who will be dominating cycling in a few years' time. First, it's Zoe Baxter. Remember that name. The Baxter family are no strangers to success in cycling. Her dad won Paris-Roubaix after all. But there's something about Zoe that's really exciting. In 2022, Zoe Baxter won the Junior World Cyclocross Championships, the World Road Race Championships, the World Time Trial Championships, and the World Madison Championships in just one season. Not only that, but in 2021, she also smashed the Junior Individual Pursuit World Record, which is just another indication of this raw talent. I don't think it's a stretch to say that Zoe could be one of the greatest British riders we've ever seen in any discipline. And with her first elite national cyclocross championships win in the bag, 2023 could be an amazing season for Zoe. Finally, you've already met Cam throughout this video, and he's an exciting rider who is on this incredible trajectory. It's definitely worth you following his journey. So I'd recommend, if you're at all interested in cyclocross, heading over to his YouTube channel where he takes you behind the scenes of life as a cyclocross pro. And if you want to hear more of our deep dives into professional cycling, please subscribe and then let me know in the comments what topic you want us to cover next.